Restrictions apply.
Nissan believes you deserve a car that thrills you. So we have to ask, does your car thrill you? When you hit the pedal, do you get something back? A chill in your spine, goosebumps on your goosebumps. When you take off, do your fingers tighten around the steering wheel? Does your heart beat in your stomach and your breath catch in your chest? Does driving make you feel alive? Because it should. And if your car doesn't thrill you, ours will. This is the new Nissan.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Download podcasts of our shows. Listen whenever and wherever you want. It's all on demand. Just check out 969thegame.com/podcasts.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. Listen live on iHeartRadio. Now. No, seriously, do it now.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Happy hump day, everybody. We are loud, live, and local every morning, 6 to 9:30 a.m. on FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, HD Radio 101.1-2. On social media, you can watch us. Just go to YouTube, search for the Open Mic live stream, and there we are. There I am. Welcome to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Joining me, as always, Adam Reardon, the Deceptive Intellect, and, of course, Austin Pastolka, the Sultan of Sound.
Yeah, baby! That's right. Mike, I have found a slight flaw with my half gallon of protein. It's that if I don't drink it all by the time it's nighttime, drinking a quart of protein shake is not the easiest thing in the world to do before bed.
Oh. Nah. You don't want to do that.
No, so I gotta be better about drinking it during the day, gonna be honest.
Yeah. Also auditioning for a job on Open Mic is the Prince of Production, Kelly Velez.
Here.
We want to hear from you guys. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. Tweet us at 96.9 The Game. Text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line, 50857. First chance at $1,000, 7:10 a.m. this morning, and then on the 10s throughout the day. We call it the Game Day Payday, and it's brought to you by International Diamond Center. Every morning we begin our show, if we don't forget, with an Open Mic early morning inspirational quote of the day. This comes from our favorite philosopher, the great Anonymous, who once said, and I quote, "Throw me to the wolves, and I will return leading the pack," end quote.
I believe Adam Reardon said that.
That's correct.
Right. I would say that says, hey, listen, no matter how bad a situation I find myself in or that you put me in, that life puts me in at the moment, I'm going to not only make the best of it, I'm going to whip it to the point that I'm the leader of it.
Yeah. I'm going to whip it good. That's right.
That's right.
Little Devo.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
That reference only landed on two of us, Mike.
I'm aware of the song.
We're there, don't worry.
It's an old song, but I'm aware of it.
But are you also aware that my Rays clobbered your Royals yesterday, 14-7? Huh?
Oh, it hurt my heart. I was aware of that.
Late touchdown. Shut up.
This is the most baseball we've talked on this station in a while.
The Magic get blown out 112-96 last night by the Hawks. That's a good thing. The Magic are now officially in last place in the Eastern Conference. They surpassed the
Play
Pistons.
that Magic music.
No music. No, stop the music. There's no music. No music this morning.
Orlando Magic.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the Magic are officially in last place. Now, I think they're check the standings. I think they now have the third worst record in the league, only behind the Timberwolves and who's the other team in the West?
The Pistons.
The Pistons were really bad.
Yeah, well, they're tied with the Pistons now.
They're tied with the Pistons. T-Wolves and Rockets have worse records.
Okay, so they're tied with the Pistons, so they are in the running. Again, it doesn't really matter if you're third or first because the percentages are the same for the ping pong balls once you get down that deep. So anyway, the big story, though, with the Magic game and all the games yesterday, the sports world reacting en masse to the verdict yesterday, the Derek Chauvin verdict. He's found guilty on 3 counts of murder and manslaughter for killing George Floyd. Magic coach Steve Clifford said he watched as much of the trial as he could, and his reaction yesterday came like this.
The overriding emotion was just relief. The things for me were just the tape, the 9+ minutes that they showed both prosecution and defense used in their arguments. When you watch the experts who understand a lot more about things than I did, I got concerned because a number of them talked about all you needed was one juror to see things in a different light. The decision could have gone otherwise. So I can't lie, coming into this, I think like a lot of people, I was very concerned. So 1, it was a relief. 2, for me, is the family. We all deal with losing, people close to us, family or other close friends in a different way. I can only imagine what they've been going through, and hopefully this can start to bring some sense of closure. And then my third thought is, the challenge goes on to bring, positive and sustainable change to our country, to our systems, to criminal justice.
Okay, that was Steve Clifford, former Magic coach Stan Van Gundy, now with the New Orleans Pelicans. He called Tuesday's guilty verdict in the trial. He called it an important day for our country, but said it was hard to find reasons to celebrate. Here was Stan.
In my mind, justice was done, but it's hard to celebrate. It's hard to celebrate because it doesn't bring back George Floyd. And so we had somebody needlessly killed right in front of us, right in front of all of us, because we could see it on video. And I applaud the just verdict, but it's hard for me to celebrate based on where the whole thing started. George Floyd still being dead, people since then being dead, and not having overwhelming confidence that this is going to be a step in the right direction and not an isolated incident.
Okay, after listening to Stan, Steve Clifford, all the sports leagues and teams put out statements yesterday, I started wondering this yesterday. How did George Floyd's murder change sports? And I think it had a major impact on sports. Obviously, the empowerment of athletes. We saw that. We had athletes speaking out and kneeling down before George Floyd's death. But to me, George Floyd's death sort of empowered athletes to another level. It caused them to actually get involved and start wielding their power. Professional basketball, baseball, soccer. Remember last summer, they all canceled their games, not only in the wake of George Floyd's murder, but when the police shooting of Jacob Blake took place in Wisconsin. I mean, we were a party to it right here in Orlando. Remember when the Milwaukee Bucks refused to take the floor against the Magic in the bubble last year? That sort of started a chain reaction throughout sports. The coaches in the NBA formed a social justice coalition. Athletes became involved in town hall discussions with local police forces. They became involved in voting rights movements. College athletes last summer, we remember they marched on campus. They started using their voices and platforms like never before. I remember we actually had him on our show. I talked to world-renowned UCF professor Dr. Richard Lapchick about this during the course of the whole controversy and the Black Lives Matter movement last summer, and he's the director of the Institute for Diversity and Ethics in Sports. He's considered by many to be the nation's foremost expert on sort of racial issues as they relate to sports. This is a guy who was there to see John Carlos and Tommy Smith protest racial injustice at the 68 Mexico Olympics. Everybody remembers or have seen the image of, Carlos and Tommy Smith bowing their heads on the medal stand and raising the black gloved fist as a moment of protest during the national anthem. Richard Lapchick was also there to see Muhammad Ali get arrested and stripped of his heavyweight championship when he refused to be drafted during the Vietnam War. He told me, actually, I think he told us on this show last summer, the difference between now and the 1960s is that back then we had just a few athletes who were willing to take action, but now you have an entire leagues and players taking action. So this has really been unprecedented, the impact that George Floyd's murder had on sports. Adam Reardon, would you agree?
Yeah, and I say unprecedented because we keep moving the bar a little bit. Sadly, we keep having to move the bar because some of these things aren't changing, or we, as Stan said, and Coach Clifford said, we need to have sustainable change. But it seems like there's something that keeps happening, and in the wake of this, we've already seen other instances of people, shot or mistreated. And so we have to continue to advance doing it. And again, for people that have been sort of harping on the, just who is it? Was it Laura Ingraham that said, just shut up and dribble?
Yeah, Laura. Yeah, she said that. Yeah, she said that a year or two ago, and LeBron responded.
Well, athletes, those days are long since over, that these guys are just here for your entertainment purposes only. They are human beings. They are members of our society. They are, whether you like it or not, they are role models. They have impactful voices, as do other people from other industries. And maybe they're late to the party and using that voice, athletes as a whole.
But the reason why they were able to use their voice was because there wasn't sports going on. And so they didn't have this other thing, this fighting aspect of sports, like, oh, I've got a game coming up, I still have to focus on this, I still have a job to do. They were able to throw their voice fully into backing all of the protests that were going on, and were able to have even more of an impact. And so when they came back and continued to talk about it, that was incredible as well.
Yeah, I would contend, though. Well, actually, we'll continue the discussion coming up. But actually, when the game started going on, that's when their voices resonated the loudest, in my opinion. We will continue this conversation, also get to a spontaneous text question that's coming your way next on Open Mic.
This is Markelle Fultz of the Atlanta.
get back to our discussion, let's do a little spontaneous text question real quick.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
Text in your answers to 50857. Today is National Kindergarten Day. All right? Very specific question for everybody out there. Who was your kindergarten teacher? What was the name of the elementary school? And give me one kindergarten memory. All right?
Why does this feel like you're trying to get into my credit card information?
I have an amazing, vivid memory, even though it was decades ago, of my first day of kindergarten. I remember my teacher, Miss Bird. It was at Lake Forest Elementary School on the east side of Gainesville. That was the poor section of town, by the way.
East side?
The east side, yeah, the east side of Gainesville. I remember I went to kindergarten, first day, and I was so freaked out after my mom left me there. I was crying. And our house was probably about a half a mile away. Or at least that's what it seemed like back then. And I actually escaped from the classroom and sprinted home. They couldn't catch me.
Mommy!
Yeah. I ran away from the first day of kindergarten. Yeah.
Man.
That's my most vivid memory. And really my only memory of kindergarten when it comes right down to it.
Wow. So, I can't remember my teacher. I do remember the school, though. I didn't have the same reaction you did because my father left a lot earlier than yours, so I was used to parents leaving me, so it was okay.
Just some abandonment issues, just a little bit?
Yeah.
My teacher was Mrs. Maloli. She at Franklin Elementary in Holdridge, Nebraska.
She wasn't just the kindergarten teacher, by the way. She was like the school mom. She taught all the grades.
Gosh dang it. I wasn't at that small a school, man. There were 2 elementary schools in my hometown.
I truly believe that Austin grew up in Walnut Grove. That's really in my mind. That's where it goes, like Walnut Grove.
So, what's your class size in kindergarten? 5.
Let's see. Hold on one second.
And my twin brother.
The town where I went to school at has 5,000 people in it. Where the town where my parents now live, which I claim as my hometown, is 300 people. So
that's nuts.
So they're the ones that have the school mom.
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyway, text those in 50857, National Kindergarten Day. Give me your kindergarten teacher, your elementary school, and a memory from kindergarten. You guys have no memories from kindergarten. Wow. You guys are younger than me. You should have a vivid memory from kindergarten.
I just remember how hot Mrs. Maloli was.
Mrs. Maloli?
She was like newly teacher, like been out of college right out of college.
Holy cannoli! Look at Mrs. Maloli.
I wonder what the teacher's going to look like this year. Whoa!
When you used to get a new teacher in elementary school that you've never seen before, it's just like, oh, who is this? Welcome to the family.
That's right.
In what grade?
In kindergarten.
Oh no! I used to like that when I was in high school.
Yeah. Yeah,
we were horrible in elementary school.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, back to our discussion. I'm an uncomfortable segue here as we go back into the Derek Chauvin verdict yesterday. And Austin, you said something at the end of the last segment about the impact was what did you say? There were no games.
There were no games going. No sports were going on, so nothing was pulling these athletes away from speaking out. They were able to go be part of the protests, and because stations like us didn't have games to focus on, we focused on what athletes were doing, and that was going to these protests and speaking out. And then when the games started back up, they didn't stop talking about it, which we kind of thought might happen because it's been a lot of just shut up and dribble for a lot of people.
You're right about all of that, except this. I would say that the most impactful moment where athletes really made a difference, the games were being played, but again, it was right here, and the Magic were involved in it. When the Milwaukee Bucks refused to take the court in the bubble. And that led to, again, cancellations, not only in the NBA, MLS, Major League Baseball, throughout sports. They canceled games, and that was unprecedented. That had never, ever happened before. There had never been a case in major professional sports where the athletes actually protested the games and caused the leagues en masse throughout this country, throughout the world, really, throughout the world, caused leagues to shut down. And that had never happened before. And to me, that really got the attention of the American public.
I agree 100% with that. The one thing that I disagree, the one thing that is important to remember, though, is that I don't think that happens if this goes on while games are being played. I don't think athletes get that boost of, or that sense of ownership of this, or they get that boost of confidence to actually be able to speak out and do all of that if they didn't have the opportunity to during the summer.
Yeah, and let's also remember there was a bit of a controversy whether the athletes would actually, I'm talking about the NBA specifically here, whether the athletes would actually agree to come back and play during that tumultuous time in really in American history, because, again, a lot of NBA players were like saying, hey, do we really want to come back and play while this is going on? And the NBA and the Board of Governors and the Players Union, they all got together and they agreed that the platform that the NBA was going to provide these players in the bubble was going to sort of usurp any concerns of, whether they were minimalizing the controversy by coming back to play. And I think they made I said it then, I'll say it again now. I think the NBA and all the sports leagues made the right decision by coming back and playing, because, again, if they don't come back and play, there's never the opportunity to protest the game and cancel the games and really get the attention of the American sporting public.
If there's if they don't come back and play, there's a chance for them not to play. That's
exactly.
That's a funny way of looking at it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So again, sports, to me, sports, and Adam said it best. We're never going back. All right, we're never going back to the shut up and dribble days where athletes and college athletes don't have anything to say about what's going on in the country. Like it or hate it, all right? That's how it's going to be. And actually, I like it. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of kneeling during the national anthem and getting everybody riled up at the games. But if they want to use their platform to speak out on what's going on in the country, I have nothing. More power to them, I say.
Yeah, and listen, you may not like the message, okay? But, being the messenger, or being a messenger of whatever message you choose, is what makes this a great country. I don't remember anybody on Fox News telling Ted Nugent to just shut up and play the guitar. You know what I mean? Look, when you've built a platform for yourself via some other, some other avenue, people will listen to you. Ted Nugent is a rock and roll star, and give him that credit. But should we be leaning on Ted Nugent for political information? Sure, if you choose to. If you choose to listen to what Ted Nugent has to say, then that's your business. Same as LeBron. Same as any of these other athletes or actors or anything else that you see on TV. They have the right to say it, and you have the right to agree, disagree, or if it drives you too crazy, don't even listen. Don't even listen. Don't pay it any attention.
Who wouldn't want to take their political advice from a singer who once sang Wang Dang Sweet Poontang, for crying out loud?
Huh? That's true.
That's the only way that I get my political information. Right. That and Stan Van Gundy.
I'd love to see those two guys in a debate. That'd be great.
Oh, my God.
Stan would destroy it.
All right, right around the corner.